So, Jai Hind everyone. This is Dr. Avdhesh Gupta, Professor, Department of Information Technology, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. Today we will discuss a very small topic in human-computer interface, that is screen design and its principles. So, let's take some overview. What are the basically to design interface design goals? Basically, if we are designing a screen for a user, so a screen should be a computer friendly, user friendly, so that the each and every user must be able to understand what the screen want to say, and the user will be able to interact with the screen very easily. The basic goals are reduce visual work, so that the user very easily understand the screen concept, the asked, the written concept, reduce intellectual work, reduce memory work, reduce mental work, and eliminate burden or instructions. Basically, whatever written on screen, or whatever design specification or design on the screen, that must be in such a case, in such a manner, so that the user will be able to understand what the screen want to say, what the screen meaning. Okay. So, perceptual principles can be used to add screen functional grouping. That is basically the use of organization to create functional grouping. Means what? If we are designing a screen and there are lots of icon, lots of text boxes are there, so we have to make a group, so that this group uh, can be bifurcated from others, so that the we or the human or the person can understand that this particular group can be for this application, can be for this purpose. If we are mixing these tasks, these text boxes, so it is very tough to bifurcate the groups or bifurcate the text boxes. So, we have to make sure that use visual organization to create functional group. Second is combine visual organization principles in logic way. Like for example, if we are saying that uh, there are lots of information are there, and this information is related to that particular group, that information can be grouped in a text box, or in a circle, or in a square box. But if there are any information that is not related to that particular group, or maybe that beyond the circle, or we can ask that if there is any name that suppose we are designing a combo box. The size of combo box is very short, like if we are deciding that it should be yes or no. But if we are giving some name, some larger name, then may be possible that it beyond its boundary line, then what will happen? So, we have to make sure that combine visual organization principle in logical ways, so that it should capable to handle all types of text, either the text size is small or the text size is larger. Avoid visual organization principles that conflict. If the principles may not always be compatible, however, when the viewer encounter incompatibilities, confusion results. In the examples above, proximity destroys similarity, proximity overwhelms closure, and proximity overwhelms logical ordering. Okay. So, visual pleasing composition. Basically, we have to design a screen in such a way to provide visual pleasing composition with the following few qualities. We will discuss, we will show few examples of balance, symmetry, regularity, predictability one by one, and understand what does its meaning. Like for example, the first quality is balance. What does balance mean? If we are seeing this particular screen design, so this is a text box, this is a text box, this is also the text box. So, in left hand side there are three text boxes, and at left hand right hand side also three text boxes are there, and all are balanced. The height, the width, the length, everything is same as the left and right. But in the next, this is instability. Means what? There are few text boxes are there, but what will happen? What is happened there? The first text box at left hand side, but at right hand side there is no text box. Whether it is good or not, I think this is good. So, we have to design a screen in a balanced way, not with the instability way. Okay. So, the balanced screen will show that this screen is very useful, very quite understandable to user. So, this is a good example. Symmetry. The similar example for symmetry is in this. Like if we are talking about this, this is a balance, also the symmetry. Symmetry means if there is a small, there is a text box whose width is very low. So, there is a small, there is another text box whose width is small. There is a small box whose width is quite larger than the previous one, and this is the same as the previous one. So, this is symmetry also in this also. There are two symmetry two symmetry at left hand side, same size, at right hand side also the same side, the top and bottom, and middle is the lower breadth height. So, this is the symmetry. And if we talk about this type of screen design, so this is asymmetry means what? If there are multiple boxes are there and we are not matching the right hand side boxes, so this is asymmetry. So, symmetry design is good always. Regularity. If we are talking about the regularity, what does it mean? If we are asking user to enter some data in this fashion, so there are three columns, all three columns are equals, all three, the gap between these three columns horizontally or vertically is equal, but in this the text boxes are hither and thither placed irregularity. We are very confused to fill which box comes later, which box comes next, which box comes next. So, screen designing plays a very important role. Suppose when we are designing suppose let us take an example. If I am asking you to design a map for a plot or for a small area, so you just start designing without mentioning its dimensions. So, dimensions are more important. So, for this there is no dimension of any boxes. Some boxes are larger, some boxes are not large. So, there is no dimension, but we talk about the dimension. So, we keep the equal dimension of each and every boxes. So, make it more convenient. So, this is basically a good design. So, regularity, this principle should be followed. The next one is predictability. What does it mean, predictability? Predictability means, this is predictability. It means for what? If a common area is used for common purpose, like for example, if this is title bar, this is title bar, this is menu bar, these are the some control, these are the buttons, and button this controls are there, buttons in between this. Whether you are able to find that this button should be placed in this? No. I think if we are asking from anyone, even from the novice user also, they said that the OK button, the cancel button should be kept at the last, not in the middle. So, this is predictability, that button should be kept at the last of the screen. So, this should be done or this should not be done. Okay. Sequentiality. Sequentiality means everything will be in sequence. There is a sequence that this step should be followed first, this step should be after this first step. So, the sequence is very important. The eye tend to be attracted to a brighter element before lesser bright, isolated element before elements in a group, graphics before text. Suppose for example, if I am writing NINE 9 or TEN 10 here, whether you are able to keep whether your eyes will be read this particular thing. So, color before black and white, highly saturated color before those lesser saturated, a dark area before light areas, big element before a smaller one. So, this type of thing should be done in a sequential manner. Okay. Like for example, if I keep it this one, okay, like for example, this is a text box, this is a text box. The size doesn't matter. We are not following the size, but yes, this is a sequence, but in this, is there any sequence of these text boxes? Whether this and then after this or this or this? No, there is no sequence. So we have to follow some sequential manner so that the user will be able to fill the box 1, then box 2, this one or this one. Either the user fill this vertically or the horizontally. But in this, the user is not able to satisfy whether this box comes after this or this box comes after this or this box comes after this. So this sequentiality matters. Next is economy or intricacy. Basically for what? If we are designing some part, some screen, so what we have seen in this image? This image has equal part or equal design part in all the 4 rectangular boxes, but in these all 4 parts has different design. Obviously, if we are concentrating something, so we are keeping our eyes so that everything should be on same pace, but if we are doing some tedious task or some task, so that we can slightly differ some other boxes that have some different design. So we will prefer this also. Okay. So we are not saying that this is good or this is good. This is economy and this is intricacy. So that sometimes this design can be better, sometimes, but not always. This design also sometimes better. So these are the different aspects. So we can do in this way. Unity and fragmentation. What does unity means? Unity means everything kept at a place, but here this particular box at left upper side, this is right upper side, this is left down size, this is right down size. The space between these boxes kept as blank. So there is no use. So this is part of fragmentation, but we have to keep it as unity. The size of each and every text box matters, just because of if we ask a user to enter one character like true and false, so the user will just enter T. So we have to keep a square box that has one character size. So maybe this square can be of this size, but the size, this square should be exactly the square. Okay. Another is thing, just because of if we are using some computer machine to design some square boxes, so this size matters. So we can do this size also 1:1, 1:1.414, golden rectangle 1:1.618, square root of 3 means what? 3 characters 1:1.618, square 1.732, double square 1:2 maybe. So this is a pleasing portions. Pleasing portion means if we are keeping the text box size in this way, so this looks good. Basically this we are talking about the screen design. So everything that is display on a screen should be in good looking manner. Okay. Like for example, this we have already discussed. Simplicity, this is very simple, and this is complexity. Every text box is hither and thither, so this is not good. This is simplicity. Simple text box keeping in same alignment is good. Okay. So now this is the original screen taken from some Tully's 1981 with the title, caption and data described by the rectangle this. So whether you are able to find this particular form design is good, just because there is a test result, there is a summary and there is a ground sum. So these are the test results. The left hand side text boxes are the test results. Others are the summary. Whether you are able to read that particular, maybe not. Just because this is somehow old design. In nowadays, the design has been changed to new look. We have to design our form like this one. Like this is somehow the title. This is somehow the title for this particular column. This is the title for this column. This is the title for this column. So this looks somehow some good, so that we have to design some good images, good screen designs. Like for example, this particular design can be read this also, ground, fault, but no matters where the particular first column or second column start. If we are keeping the lines of each and every, this one, this one, this one. So yes, we are grouping some tasks. So this can attract, or this can able to user by using this will enable the user to interact with the screen with more efficiently, effectively. Okay. So grouping using white spaces. Somehow the blank spaces, or we can say that the space between two words or between two characters play some important role, like grouping using white spaces. If there is some space in between some text boxes or in between some design, so we can make grouping. So grouping, what does it mean? The similar task, keep it at keeping along with similar task. Like for example, this type of thing. Suppose this is a design. So there is a group, this one, this is another group, this is another group, maybe because we are grouping these this particular group based on their white spaces. Like for example, you can keep it, you can see here. So we have drawn some lines based on their white spaces. So this particular thing is better as compared to this one, where the text is written over here, but there is no differentiation or no difference between or among these texts. So this makes clear, user understandable, so that everyone can understand what does it mean. Okay. So grouping using borders. So we can create, or we can draw lines in we can remove the white spaces and we can draw the lines in this way. Okay. So this is the test result. We can draw the lines in this also, like in this way, this, in this way. We can design in this way also. Sorry. Yes. Now grouping using background. Let's consider incorporating a contrasting knowledge background for related information. Like for example, there is a some images on a computer screen, and these images can be grouped together. But if we are seeing that the background image is kept different for different types of images. So the background image also plays some important role. So we can group we can group according to the background, not from not according to the foreground also. So the background should not have the emphasis of the screen component. That should be attended to consider about 25% gray screening. Reserve higher contrast or emphasizing techniques for screen component to which attention should be drawn. Visual style in web page design. Now the screen design is another part, but when we are asking user to input some data on a page, like in a way web page design, so this is somehow different. Just because we have to put some images on a web pages. So maintain a consistent and unified visual style throughout the pages or of an entire website based on visual sites on the profile and the goal of the website owner, the profile, taste and expectation of the website user. Basically, what we are providing and for whom we are providing. So we have to consider the website owner and the user who uses that particular website. So website should be designed in such a way so that the owner will be happy, the user will be happy. The amount of information. Suppose a screenful image, on a screenful image, there can be a 24 lines or more than 24 lines are there based on its font size. So, what information we can keep on a single page, single screen? There can be a full page, a full screen of information. There can be a half information. So, if the information is related to each other, the text boxes, the designs, the symbols, the icons that are related to each other, we can keep it on a single screen. If the screen size is less for our information is too wide. So, whether it is good to scroll the particular page or keep that particular information on next page, which one is good? Everyone can very easily said that we can scroll this, and just because scrolling is given to us, no. Scrolling, we should discourage scrolling. If there are more than one screen full of information is there, so we have to group in such a way so that the first part comes first and then click on next, the next part will show. So, this information not on the second screen, this should be come on the next page. Okay. So, the proper amount of information for the task, too little for inefficient and too much for confusing. If you are giving too much information that for the user may be a little bit confused. User read the first task, the second task, user take so much time to read or to fill or on a single screen only. If there is only little bit information on a single screen, so there is no use of that particular screen. So, we have to make sure that each and every screen must have some informative information so that user at least stay at least few seconds on a page, but not for wider time. Web page size, minimum page length, restrict to 2 or 3 screen of information. Restrict, discourage 1 page, 2 page or maximum 3 page, not more than that. Place critical or important information at the very top so that it is always viewable when the page is opened. Locate it within the top 4 inches of the pages. The important information should be kept at the top of the pages. Deciding on long versus short pages. So, which is good? The long pages where we are scrolling and there are lots of information comes on next after scrolling the pages, or the short pages. There are 2 or 3 pages, the information is finished. Basically, it depends. In general, if there is a short pages, short information, or there are only few pages are there, so this is good for the user just because the user is able to find everything on this particular page that is important to him. If we are providing so much information, then user is confusing that whether this is important to me or not, whether we have to fill, whether we have to read the particular information or not. If the user wish to read, then he or she can click the particular data item to read it in detail. But we are providing on a single page just to make it lengthy, it is not good. Okay. Scrolling and paging. Avoid scrolling to determine a page content. Avoid scrolling. If we are providing a single screen, that is very good, that is best. But if it permit to scroll just because 2 or 3 more lines are there, then we can scroll it. Minimal vertical page scrolling, horizontal and vertical. There are 2 types of scrolling. This is horizontal scrolling and this is vertical scrolling. Horizontal scrolling, avoid, fully avoid, do not consider it. Vertical scrolling, you can do, but discourage it also. When vertical scrolling is necessary to view an entire page, provide contextual cues within the page that is must be scrolled to view its entire content, and provide a unique and consistent end of page structure. But keep in mind that you should avoid this horizontal page scrolling. Never use horizontal page scrolling. never use. Paging. Encourage viewing a page through paging concept. Create a second version of a website, one consisting of individual screen that are viewed through paging. Focus and emphasis. Basically, visually emphasize the most prominent element, most important element, central idea or focal point. That should be on center page or center information where the user want to see, to ensure that too many screen elements are emphasized. Using too many emphasize techniques also. To provide emphasis, these are the techniques: higher brightness, reverse polarity, larger and distinct font, underlining, blinking, line ruling, contrast coloring, large size, positioning, isolation, distinctness, white spaces, and quite more. Also, one more example we have already discussed. If we are we are asking user to concentrate on this, but user is not able to concentrate on your that item, then you can do it in different style, so that user will be able to see that this is somehow different, or the screen want to show that particular words, emphasis on that particular word. So we have to read, we have to understand that particular words. Presenting information simply and meaningfully. Basically, we have to provide the information on a web page or on any page in a very simple language. Provide legibility. The information is noticeable and distinguishable. Provide a readability, so that everything should be in readable form. Present information in usable form. It can be translation, it can be transposition, references or documents should be required to interpret the understand information. Utilize contrasted display features, create visual lines, and be consistent. So these are some important points that that should be considered while presenting information in simple and meaningfully on any web page, on any in any design specifications. Font size. This should also matters. Like if you are the student and we have asked you to to prepare a report up to 40 pages. What should you do? You all are keeping the font size 14, 16, 18. The line spacing 2, 3 line spacing, and create a 40 pages report. This is not good. Basically, the ideal font size is a 12. 12 point size is ideal size. We can keep it 14 for headings only, not for the text size. The proper running text size should be maximum 12 point. 10 point is also good, but we can use, if we are keeping it somehow bigger font, then 12 font size can be used. So, for graphical system, 12 point size for menu, 10 for window, for web pages 12 to 14 for body text, 18 to 36 point for title and headings. For line space 1 to 1 and 1 and 1.5 times. Never change the established type size of a squeeze in more text. If there is a fixed pattern, so we have to follow that particular pattern, or the font size should be in this style. If we are creating a report, then we should consider that our report should be in this way. Suppose this is a page. So we have to write this. So if the title is this is a running text. The text should be justified. The line space should be 1 or 1.5. The text size should be 12 to 14. The heading size should be 14 to 16 approximately, whatever they given in the specifications. Like for example, chapter heading 24 point bold, the section heading 18 point bold, subsection 14 point bold, paragraph heading 12 bold, the body text, the paragraph body text is 10 point, or we can keep it 12 also. Annotation footnote 8 point. Okay. Font style and weight. Font style and weight. Weight, it means whether it is a regular, bold, italic, underline, what is the type it, and the same the type of font. There are different types of fonts are there, Arial, Times New Roman, and so on. So we can keep it very simple, so that it will be simple. It will be looking simple. It will be in a readable form. Okay. If we are keeping some bold, so we are concentrating that we are asking user to concentrate on that particular words. So we are keeping that particular words in bold. If we use italic, this also we can do bold, we can do underline, we can do italic, just to ask user to get more attention on these particular words. Okay. This is providing better control discrimination. The redundant word amount is incorporating a heading. For example, the first amount, the last amount, this amount, that amount. What is this? If we are doing in this way, so this creating some confusion to the user. What should be done? The amount should be kept here, and then only the first, last, and this and that. Do it in this way. So this create a lesser confusion to the human mind. This is basically control caption data fields. So we have to make sure that every field label should be in such a way so that this particular is in readable form, and we can very easily find that what we are asking to enter in these text boxes. Okay. So information retrieval on web. Basically, if we are keeping some information, we are storing the information from the website through some text boxes or some label. So the information retrieved from the web is also important. Just because whatever the information is available on the website or web pages, we have to read that information. This information can be very important for us. So the most sought after web commodity is content. Behavior is often good driven. Reading is no longer a linear activity, impatient, like that. Okay. So these are some browsing guidelines. If we are browsing of web pages, so these are some browsing guidelines. So in this way, we can design a good web page so that everyone is more comfortable with our design. So that's all for today. Thank you.